Namaste and welcome everybody. My name is Pooja and I'm a Mohanji Acharya from Canada. With me today, I have my Acharya sister Lisa from UK. Hi Lisa.
Hello, thank you.
Lisa and I will be having a conversation on Mohanji's podcast today. The podcast we're going to be listening to is Unconditional Love Part 1. And after listening to the podcast, Lisa and I will have a short discussion on the podcast. So Lisa, let us start.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome to Mohanji Speaks. These are answers to questions from listeners. Thank you for sending them. Keep sending them. I will try to answer them as best as I can.
Mohanji, this is about love. So it's asking the question, when is true unconditional love possible?
Unconditional love is the only possibility. All the other things like relative love, which is loving for a particular reason, for a cause, means loving with expectation. They are all unnatural. They are all mind-oriented. Unconditional love is the substratum. That means it's permanent. It's permanent always. Means something which is permanent is unconditional love. And why we do not experience it? Because we are connecting love with something external, an external object, an external being. And we decide that we have a choice to love or not to love. But if you remove all these choices, you have a state where you are sleeping. You have a state where you are awake, and you are a state where you're dreaming. All these states are real. And that which transcends all this state is unconditional love. But how do you know about this? That means, how do you know that there is a state where you need nothing but you still love? You have to connect yourself. You have to look at yourself. Look at the harmony which is called you. All the organs of the body, which have different functions, are working in perfect synchronicity, in harmony. And you understand there is a deep love or deep connection, the connection between all these activities which are happening, which makes you stay alive. That cementing material or that which unites everything is deep love. If you really connect to yourself, you will be overwhelmed with love. It'll be like a treasure house of love within. You do not see that outside. When you're interacting with the outside world, you're looking at people, you're looking at differences, you're looking at materials, you have expectations, you have desires, inclinations, tendencies. When all these things are happening, it's not easy to feel love because we are occupied with all these things. In that mode, very, very difficult to find unconditional love. But if you take a close watch to the nature, you see a tree gives fruits with zero expectation. Its only desire by giving forth the fruit is that its seeds gets distributed and new trees will come. But it produces much more fruits than it actually needs to have another tree. Why so? So it's doing its dharma, its duty to serve the world unconditionally. It gives shade even to a woodcutter, somebody who's come with an axe to cut its branches. It gives shade. It gives shade to birds, shelter to birds, and it gives nourishment to the beings without any expectation. You can see this harmony, this truth everywhere. This is unconditional love, love without conditions. And if you are able to observe yourself, the true yourself, there is a physical aspect, the gross aspect. We have a subtle aspect, the experience aspect, which consists of intellect, ego, mind, all these things. Then we have further a causal aspect, which causes everything to function within us. Look at all these aspects. On the gross aspect, you have an identity, you have a personality, you have a certain existence, and you are identified as a certain person, all these things. Then the second level, subtle level, where you are nurturing and maintaining these things. In both these places, sometimes you can't find unconditional love because desires surpass our feeling of unity. Desires overwhelm. Sometimes we don't even see the possibility of unconditional love. But when you go still further, deep within, causal layer, it has no interest in any of the activities. It has no interest in any experiences. It is completely neutral, but it is love. Its expression is love. It continuously assists all the other faculties to experience life with totally free and unconditional existence. So inside us, we have deep unconditionality. But why do we don't experience it? Why are we not experiencing it? Is because we have so many emotions connected to expectations, connected to our existence. When all these emotions are happening one by one, like waves on the ocean, we fail to see what's behind all this. When all these emotions are gone, you never see a calm sea always. Calm in the sense, waveless sea. There are waves all the time. Such emotions keep on happening. We fail to see there is a sea underneath. So you got to take some time, connect deep within, go within. I say contemplate, 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 go within, deep analysis about what you are not. Anger comes. I'm not anger. Hatred comes. Why should I be hatred? Hatred kills me. It disturbs me. I'm not hatred. Jealousy comes. Why should I be jealous about somebody? I'm unique. Instead of focusing on my uniqueness, why should I look at somebody else? Like that, with contemplation, you can remove the intensity of each emotion. Then what remains is unconditional love. One by one, layer by layer, you remove the grip of emotions. Then emotions don't grip you anymore. When you are fully yourself, when your inner journey is strong, you are more inclined to go inside than outside. Emotions can't catch you. Emotions exist with outside objects, outside entities, beings, people, places, all these things. But when you go within, there is nothing to hold on except some memories, something which is stored, such as fears, memories, inclinations, likes and dislikes, tendencies, experiences, impressions. Apart from that, there's nothing inside. You are constantly seeing the existence of these materials inside. You start feeling that's not me. These are all fleeting things, something which comes and goes. So I'm not all this. Then what am I? That's when you really start connecting to the deeper core, where there is somebody, something in you which needs nothing, totally free, unattached with all your activities, all your likes and dislikes, all your emotions, all your desires, everything, and still happy. So that's when you realize, oh, there is something much deeper, much more happier than this fleeting happiness or pleasures of life. And that gives you that awareness. There is something very deep and unconditional within. You got to find it. It's like finding a treasure. You have to dig and dig and dig, and beneath all the mud and the rubbles, there is a treasure box within you, within us. When you find that, you found everything. There's nothing more to find. Meanwhile, we are busy trying to find something outside of us, like a relationship, some possessions, some positions. We are on a mad rush all the time. But are we happy? We are not happy. We need more. We need different things. We need variety. Plus, we engage into emotions such as criticism, judgment, comparison, and that hooks you to the outside world. If you just leave it, don't judge anybody, don't criticize anybody, don't compare with anybody. You're unique. If you're less hooked to the world outside, your inner journey becomes easier. If you're more hooked to the world outside, first of all, you have to unhook. That's why we have power of purity meditation. Unhooking. Unhook yourself from the world outside and then come inside. Slowly, slowly. Take one step at a time. It may take time. I don't even know how much time. It depends on individuals, how deep you are connected to the world outside. If you're lesser connected to the world outside, easier to come inside. So this is approximately, I'm just giving you a broad picture because unconditional love is something which you got to feel, where you are able to love everybody, everything, like a mother to the child, mother of any species to its children. How deep is the bonding? How much love with no expectations? And if you look at the animal kingdom, their love is far more unconditional than human kingdom.
This is the first podcast of 3 on the topic of unconditional love. It was quite extensively covered by Mohanji, so there'll be 2 more to come. We hope you enjoyed it, and the next installment will come very soon. Have a good day.
What an amazing podcast.
Yeah, really amazing.
Mhm.
So what? Let's perhaps start with what is unconditional love, as Mohanji talked about.
For me, you are asking me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, unconditional love is, when you are not judgmental, or you are not, you accept yourself 100% with all your weakness and with all your strengths. So most of the time, what we do, we criticize ourselves unconsciously. We start comparing ourselves, because we always pretend that we have to show our good side to the society, or because we want approval from others, and that's how we actually start pretending, but that is not our real face. That means we are not accepting ourselves fully, like we are not accepting our weaknesses, but nobody's perfect in this world, and we just forget it. So when you start accepting yourself 100%, and that's how that unconditional love you start feeling with yourself, that is a relationship with you and with your higher self,
Yeah.
which is inside you, not outside you.
Yeah.
So once you can make this bridge through this acceptance, and you can make this connection with your higher self, then you automatically become complete. You become the whole universe, and through this journey, you do not need anything outside for unconditional love,
Yeah.
because at that time you become
You
the
become.
love.
Yeah. You become.
And then that's how, when you start from yourself, then you can share this with everyone. But if you cannot love yourself, how can you love? Forget about unconditional love, how can even you love others? So that's why we often we see that we whatever we call relationship or love relationship or marriage or whatever, but all of them are transactional.
Yeah.
We not only try to change ourselves, but we also try to change others.
Yeah.
So that's how it is transactional, and that cannot be love. So that is, there is no acceptance and there is no love actually, but we are trying to pretend that okay, we are in relationship, we are in love,
Yeah.
but that actually not the fact. That
No,
is
very
my understanding. Yeah.
No, you said it. You touched exactly all the points, and I agree. I agree with that. I think it starts with your accepting yourself and loving yourself before you, and after that, once you have loved yourself, you don't even need to love anything, anything outside. It automatically
Because,
that becomes your nature.
right,
Unconditional love is you become unconditional love. You don't even have to shower. You don't have to do. It's not in doing. It is in being. You are.
being,
Yeah.
right.
You
Yeah, so you become the complete, like you become complete,
you become
and
complete.
with that completeness, you already, when you already complete, like when you are rich, then you are not thinking about money, right. So when you are love, you are not thinking about, like, how I will get love from others, that kind of stuff. So you are love, and you start sharing your love with others, and you also start enhancing others through your energy.
The one
that
more.
is that is how I loved about Mohanji, because Mohanji is that kind of master who is always give you that space, like he is accepting you the way you are. He will never going to ask you any question that, whatever, but whoever you are, wherever you are coming from, but he will accept you the way you are. That is the power of his love, and that's how it just gave me a new kind of understanding that that's also possible in this
No, I
world.
agree. I mean Mohanji showers love to you in so many different ways.
Right.
And he gives you the space. You're right, he gives you the space to be yourself. He doesn't judge you, doesn't criticize you, he just accepts you as you are,
Right.
that you are. And
Right. And that's how you feel that freedom with him, right? You are not fearful because you don't need to prove anything,
anything.
right? So we all are, that's why very comfortable with him, because he gives us this freedom to us, that the way you are, I'm accepting you, and you are free, and we are always fearless with him, right? So that is the power of unconditional love.
But unconditional love also means you're fearless, though.
Right.
Yeah, it also means you're
Right.
fearless. There is no
Right.
fear. When there is unconditional love, there is no fear.
There is no fear because you don't need to prove anything
Yeah,
to anyone. Yeah.
there is nothing.
So
The other
that
thing
is
that we
really
had
amazing.
podcast, Father said, was about nature. How nature itself is unconditional love. If you notice, the sun every morning, whether we express our gratitude to the sun or not, the sun is always shining for all of us. Right?
Exactly.
Imagine if there is no sun, we wouldn't
Yes.
be able to sustain on earth. But it nourishes us, it gives us unconditionally.
Right.
Water, all the waters, it is giving us unconditionally without expecting.
Trees.
trees
Trees.
trees are giving us unconditional
Earth.
all,
Sun. I mean, the whole nature.
all
I
nature.
mean, like, yeah. When a flower blooms, it never think that, why should I bloom? I
Yeah,
mean, who will going to see me? It just blooms. It just blooms, and its intention is like unconditional, right? If somebody is watching it or somebody is ignoring it, it
yeah,
doesn't
no,
matter for them.
not
Yeah, it's totally unconditional.
totally
If
unconditional.
you see a bird is singing outside, the bird is never going to think who is going to listen to me,
I know.
right? It is singing by itself, and then they are not bothered about who is listening. They are not bothered about any approval. But we human, because we have that kind of like mind, so we are actually trying to prove ourselves.
Prove ourselves.
That's how we become conditional. But if when you are fearless, that you do not have to prove to anyone, um, then you are fearless, and then that's how you become unconditional.
And that is also comparison, no? And why
Right.
why is proving something to somebody is because somewhere there is a comparison, that
Competition.
competition
Com-
comparison, that I have to be this. And I think social media now that has come in has actually made things worse, because you see people Instagram and everything, people posting pictures and everything, so the comparison is so apparent, it happens right away,
yeah. There's
so
a mad rush. There's a mad rush. I found it so funny in Facebook. You always see the smiling picture, the beautiful picture, and as if like we do not have
bad day.
any sad moments or anything, I mean, issues in life. That is not we are just posting one side of our life, and another side we are just trying to hide underneath the carpet. So but this is not the truth. We all know these
Yeah,
things, but still, like, this is a mad rush about showing off. But there is nothing to showing off. I mean, what can you show off? I mean, what you are originally, authentically, that's you are. I mean, you cannot, even though you can hide it, but this is not the truth
not
anyway.
the truth. But that is
Yeah.
where a lot of cases of depression and everything, I think comparison is really so prominent, and you can see it so much, and as Lisa said, it's not that only because you're having a smiling face all the time doesn't mean the person is always smiling. Only because the person has a good hair day. I mean, all of us have bad hair days. So it is so I agree. I think the comparison is really one of the reasons. I think
It's not
comparison
practical for me. It's not practical actually.
is not practical, no,
No,
because
you're just wasting your energy and your time if you're comparing with others, because we all are unique. We are not equal, but we are unique, right? So that's what Mohanji said, that you should focus on your uniqueness instead of focus of others, that and compare with others.
and it's
So
actually, if you
we all unique, and then we all need to focus on our uniqueness. It doesn't matter how unique we are, and how like their positions is much more higher than mine. It doesn't matter actually. Mm.
And we are born with a certain constitution. If you think about the acharyas, all acharyas are different. 100 acharyas
Yeah.
are all so unique. We all have our own flavor. We all are so different, right? So I think I agree
Right.
with that. Yeah, I think all of this, whether we talked about comparison or we talk about judgments and concepts, all of that is taking us away from our true nature, which is unconditional love. Our core nature, if you see, is truly is unconditional love, is to express unconditional love. So yes, so Lisa, do you have anything else you want to add, or we're good?
Yeah, I don't want to add anything, but I just want to request everyone to listen Mohanji's podcast, because each podcast will give you so much of bigger picture about your life, and then you can contemplate about life, and you can start enjoying your life in so many ways. That's what I want to tell, and start practicing unconditional love first with yourself and then with others. That's all.
Yes. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you everybody
Thank
for joining
you.
us today. We just listened to part 1. We will be back to listen to the second podcast, and then Lisa and I will have a discussion on the podcast. Thank you, everybody, and Jai Mohanji.
Jai Mohanji.